ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Right. We are in the discussion about the chapter plant growth and development. Now if you look at the concept what we have discussed for the last class, if at all you remember, we discussed in the process called development, and in development what did we discussed? Intrinsic factors and extrinsic factors. Intrinsic factors and then extrinsic factors. Okay, intrinsic factors means internal factors. What are they? So you studied like intra specific factor and interspecific factors. So what are intragenetic factors? What is inter? Here it's what we discussed about plant growth regulators. You remember? Yes. What are extrinsic factors? Light, temperature, gravity and all that, water and all that. Did you remember last class? I am just talking about last class. What did we discuss in the last class? In the last class, development is because of two factors, intrinsic or internal, extrinsic factors. Intrinsic factors are further divided into two, intra and inter. Intra is because of genes. What is interspecific factors? They are nothing but plant growth regulators. We discussed in between two cells there are some chemicals which play a very important role in the development. They are in between cells, they are nothing but plant growth regulators, right? And we discussed external factors as light, temperature, gravity, water, minerals. Let us come back to this point. What is that? What are intraspecific factors and what are this plant growth regulators? So this is, let us continue. Let us continue from here. Let us write about plant growth regulators, or we call plant growth hormones. Regulators, or we call plant growth hormones. So we will continue from here. Let us study what are these plant growth regulators. That is the main concept of the lesson. Let us start our discussion. What is that? Plant growth regulators or plant growth hormones. So this is in generally, as we call plant growth regulators, they are called PGR. What is PGR? Plant growth regulators. Meaning what? They regulate or control the growth phenomenon of plant. They regulate or control the growth phenomenon of plant. They are called plant growth regulators. Itself they are called plant growth hormones. Why? They are nothing but hormones. They regulate and control the growth phenomenon. So here let us call this, these are referred as, these plant growth hormones are referred as chemical messengers. They are referred as chemical messengers by the scientist Sack. I will write here. So here they are referred as chemical messengers was given by Sack. Okay, plant growth hormones are given with the term called chemical messengers. Chemical messengers term was given by the scientist Sack. Okay, and these are referred as hormones. Hormones, plant growth hormones. This term was coined by the plant growth hormones. Term was coined by another scientist, Starling. There is another scientist, Starling. Okay, plant growth hormones are called chemical messengers given by Sack, and plant growth hormones term was coined by another scientist, Starling. Then why they are called chemical messengers? Let us come to what are these plant growth regulators. Let us take the definition. So here These are nothing but chemicals. These chemicals or hormones are synthesized in, definition I am writing here, are synthesized in minute quantity and are translocated to another place for action or to do function. Okay. Called plant growth regulators. Start writing the definition. What is the definition? How the way we can define plant growth regulators? They are nothing but chemicals or hormones. Let us say that the chemicals or the hormones, now they got synthesized here. The chemicals or hormones are produced here, are synthesized in minute quantity. Minute quantity means very, very small quantity. Chemicals or hormones are synthesized here. They get synthesized in very, very minute quantity, means in very, very small quantity, and are translocated. They get transferred to far place, maybe to the tip, or they get translocated to the branch. They get transferred. Translocated means they get transported to another place. Let us say they got transported to another place for action or to do function. They get synthesized at one place and they get translocated to another place where they will do the function. Mostly the function is, let us take for example, the function is growth. Okay, so that's why they are called, they are referred as chemical messengers by the scientist SAG. That's why they are referred as chemical messengers by SAG, meaning they are chemicals or hormones. They are synthesized or produced in one place in very, very small or minute quantity and are translocated to some other place where they will do their function. They are called plant growth regulators or plant growth hormones. Right. So, let us talk about these plant growth regulators or hormones. Now, these plant growth hormones are divided into two types. They are divided into two categories. What are the two categories? The first two categories, they are called as plant growth promoters they are called as what? Plant growth promoters, and second category they are called as plant growth inhibitors. Alright, they can divide into two categories. What are they? Some promotes the growth, they will make the growth to happen. They are called plant growth promoters. And other category, they inhibit the growth, they will not allow the growth to happen. They will inhibit the growth, they are called plant growth inhibitors. What are the two categories? Some promote the growth called plant growth promoters, some inhibit the growth called as plant growth inhibitors. Alright, now let us see. What are plant growth promoters? Plant growth promoters means these are the chemicals will make the processes to happen like cell division, cell enlargement, right, and then trophic growth. Along with that, flowering, fruiting, including seed formation. So these plant promoters, what they will do? They will make the cell division to happen, new cells are produced, they will get enlarged, they mature and become converted into permanent cells, and they also involved in trophic growth. What is trophic growth? Either the growth of apical bud towards the sunlight, phototrophism. The growth of the root towards gravity is geotrophism. They make the trophic growth. Trophic growth means root growth and shoot growth at the terminal tip with the meristematic tissue. They may make the flowering to happen, fruit formation and seed formation. They induce the growth, they promote this growth, that is why they are called as plant growth promoters. Which hormones will come under plant growth promoters? Let us take examples. Example which do the function of this, they are nothing but auxins, and then example gibberellins, and then take next one is cytokinins. Okay, what are they? Auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins. All three will come under plant growth promoters. They promote the plant growth by having cell division, trophic growth and all this. Right, they make all these activities to happen. Coming to plant growth inhibitors. They inhibit the plant growth. So, how they inhibit the plant growth? Especially the plant response to wound and stress to biotic and abiotic factors. Okay, so here growth inhibitors means what? They inhibit the growth, especially when the plant is get affected or damaged or it got injured. So the plant show response to wound. Okay, wound and stress to, it's because of stress to biotic and abiotic factors. Plant also undergoes stress due to abiotic and biotic factors. Biotic means living organ, maybe due to insect damage or pest or any pathogen is causing damage, the plant where growth is inhibited. And abiotic factors like high rainfall, heavy rainfall, flood or drought conditions, so whatever it may be, under stress conditions, whenever there is a wound formation, then there will be some chemicals which inhibit the growth. Okay. Now, so what are growth inhibiting processes? You can take growth inhibiting processes like dormancy and abscission. What is dormancy? Failure of seed germination. Seed will not germinate immediately. It remain in dormancy. What is dormancy? Dormancy is nothing but failure of seed germination, or seed will take some time to get germination. So, the seed remain in the process of absorbing nutrients. Sometimes it develops complete form of seed, sometimes it develops a seed coat because of thick seed coat, or it needs some favorable conditions for the seed to germinate. Until that, seed will keep quiet. The quietness of the seed not getting germinated, it's called dormancy. So, whenever conditions are not favorable, during unfavorable environmental condition, seed fail to germinate, it remain in dormancy, it keeps quiet. During favorable conditions, when the conditions are favorable, then it breaks the dormancy and seed will start germination. And why we are discussing dormancy as an example of growth inhibitor? In this, growth is stopped. So, some chemical will secrete that inhibits the growth in the seed. Seed will not undergo cell division, it will not grow into young plantlet. So, who is taking care here? A growth inhibitor. What is example for the process? Dormancy. Similarly, abscission. What is abscission? Abscission is nothing but breakdown of tissue. Growth inhibition, one of the example is abscission. What is abscission? We say breakdown of tissue. The tissue is broken down, there is no further supply of water and minerals to the next growing plants, that inhibit the growth phenomena. Or you say early fall of leaves, fruits and all that, that's nothing but what we call abscission. Dormancy, abscission, both are growth inhibiting processes. So, which is the example? Who is acting as a growth inhibitor in most of the cases? ABA, that is called abscisic acid. It is called ABA. Who is a growth inhibitor here? Abscisic acid. Okay. And here if you look at, there is one more example which act as growth promoter, also act as growth inhibitor. Who is that? So, which is an intermediate. Who is that we take? Ethylene. Who is that we will take? Ethylene. Very important. Ethylene, it will act as growth promoter. It will do some growth promoting activities, and also it will do growth inhibitor functions in some cases in some of the plants. I think it is visible or not, I will write upwards. So, who is coming under both growth promoter and growth inhibitor? The best example is ethylene. Ethylene will do some growth promoting activities, and also in some cases it acts as a growth inhibitor. That means ethylene will act as both growth promoter and growth inhibitor, but mostly growth inhibitor. And some cases and sometimes also act as growth promoter. So, what are the points to be noted down about ethylene? Ethylene will fall in common arrow mark, common bracket here. Ethylene will fall in both growth promoter, it is also referred as growth inhibitor. Right, sometimes act as a growth promoter in some cases in some plants, but mostly ethylene act as a growth inhibitor. So, you can take this as an example for both promoter and inhibitor. Right, let us have a quick review on this, quick revision on this. Growth regulators are also called plant growth hormones, and the term was given by Starling. They are referred as chemical messengers by the scientist called Sack. Right. Now, what are these plant growth regulators if you see carefully? This is a definition which you all have to remember. What is the definition? Chemicals are hormones which are synthesized at one place in minute quantity, in small quantity, and are translocated, means shifted to another place, and where they will do their function, or where they will show their action, mechanism of action. They are referred as plant growth regulators. As they move from one place to other, and they are chemicals, that is why they are called chemical messengers. They regulate and control the growth, that is why they are also called plant growth regulators. These chemicals, most of the times they are hormones. This is a definition. Got it? Hope so it is clear. Coming to these plant growth hormones are of two types. I repeat quickly, plant growth promoters and plant growth inhibitors. What are these plant growth promoters? They promote the growth. What growth activities are promoted? Cell division, cell enlargement. When these are there, this all will happen. That means trophic growth, phototrophism, geotrophism, flowering, fruiting, seed formation. Right. So, which we can take as an example? Plant growth promoters are nothing but three: auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins. Now, our discussion starts from here. We will discuss one by one. So, what is the first one we have to start our discussion? Auxin. After that, we will discuss gibberellin. We have to study in detail about auxin. Now, let us start the lesson. Let us continue the lesson with first one, auxin. We have to discuss one by one in detail. We will start with auxin. After that, we will start again all the details about gibberellins. We will discuss about cytokinins. Remember, all three will come under plant growth promoters because they make growth promoting activities. Similarly, plant growth inhibitors. So, when these growth inhibitors will come into the role, when plant show response to wound means whenever plant get injured or it got damaged, then growth will stop, their growth inhibitors will come and accumulate. Or whenever plant is in stress to biotic and abiotic factors, biotic and abiotic factors. Stress means the plant in stress of maybe flood or maybe heavy rainfall or any insect is causing damage, pest is causing damage, the plant is in stress to both biotic and abiotic. At that time also growth will be stopped by the inhibitors. So, what are growth inhibiting processes means? Let us take these two. Dormancy, what is that? Failure of seed germination. Another growth inhibiting activity of the process is abscission. What is abscission? Breakdown of tissue, that is by abscisic acid, that is ABA, and this dormancy and abscission, both of them are because of growth inhibitor called abscisic acid. Okay, we will discuss about abscisic acid also in detail. Then ethylene. So, there is one compound, sometimes you will get a question which act as both growth promoter and growth inhibitor means your answer should be ethylene, because ethylene in some plants in some cases act as growth promoter, but mostly it is a growth inhibitor. So, now our little discussion starts one by one. These all are very, very important. So, we will continue the lesson with auxins and complete information, gibberellins, complete information, cytokinins, abscisic acid and ethylene. These are the 5 things we have to study in detail. In that some are growth promoters and some are growth inhibitors. Right, let us continue. PGR, what is PGR here? That is plant growth regulators. Let us take these compounds and their composition. What are plant regulators? I hope you get PGR. What is PGR? Plant growth regulators are also called plant growth hormones. Plant growth hormones, what are they? Let us discuss the first one. There are some compounds which are made up of indole. They are called as indole compounds. What is that indole compounds? Indole compounds is nothing but indole 3 acetic acid. So, this is commonly called as IAA. What is this meaning? It is a type of auxin. It is a type of auxin. That means auxins are made up of indole compounds. Auxins are made up of indole compounds. What is the example for auxin? The example, one of the auxin we are taking as an example, that is indole 3 acetic acid. It is called IAA, indole 3 acetic acid. It is called IAA. I hope you got it. Auxins are chemically made up of, they are indole compounds. They are type of indole compounds. So, indole compounds means they are nothing but auxins. So, what is the example for auxin? A type of auxin is indole 3 acetic acid. It is commonly called IAA. Similarly, adenine compounds. Adenine compounds. Guys, you need to practice this carefully because questions will come on this. Questions will occur from this. Okay, from this what I am going to write, there is a possibility of getting questions. So, it is important, make sure that you note down as a note points, questions will come from this. That means auxins are made up of, they are indole compounds. And some compounds, they are made up of adenines. You know adenines, adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, right? Adenine compounds. If you take adenine compound, you can take, this is nothing but we are talking about N6 furfuryl aminopurine. What is that? This is nothing but a cytokinin. Okay. So cytokinins are made up of adenine compounds. Cytokinins are made up of adenine compounds. So what is cytokinin? It's one of the cytokinin is, you can take N6, nitrogen 6. Chemically cytokinin is made up of N6 furfuryl aminopurine. Okay. Similarly, carotenoids, then it's nothing but compound called abscisic acid. So abscisic acid is nothing but what? ABA. Okay. So I repeat, carotenoids. Carotenoids, then you can take what is called abscisic acid. That is nothing but what? ABA. So whenever you get the question, abscisic acid is made up of, you can take carotenoids. You know carotenoids, terpenoids. Where did you study this all? Pigments. Even in biomolecules we studied, right? Carotenoids, that's the best example is abscisic acid, or remember abscisic acid is made up of carotenoids. Similarly, you can take terpenoids. Terpenoids is nothing but gibberellic acid. Gibberellic acid, we call GA. Okay. So gibberellic acid is made up of the compounds called terpenoids. Similarly, when of the question asked about a gaseous compound, so which one is made up of a gaseous compounds? So you know that you have to remember ethylene, C2H6. Okay. So ethylene is a gaseous compound, that is C2H6. Gibberellic acid is made up of terpenoids. Abscisic acid is made up of carotenoids. Cytokinin, one of the cytokinin is N6 furfuryl aminopurine is made up of adenine compounds. Oxins, one of the oxin is indole 3 acetic acid, that is made up of indole compounds. Mostly questions come from this. This is very, very important. Okay. But in this, if you look at oxin, cytokinin and gibberellic acid, these three are, they promote the growth, they are called growth promoting hormones. But you know abscisic acid is nothing but a growth inhibitor. Ethylene is also a growth inhibitor, but remaining all are growth promoters. Very, very important guys, try to remember indole compounds, oxins, indole 3 acetic acid. Practice number of times on your paper, revise thoroughly, remember all the compounds. Adenine compounds means N6 furfuryl aminopurine, cytokinin. Third one, carotenoids means immediately you have to remember in your young mind abscisic acid. Terpenoids means gibberellic acid, and gaseous compounds means ethylene. Generally then and there they will study, they will read, and in weekend exams they will answer the question. But the time of grand test and all that, these are the things when it is given in match the following, most of the people will confuse. For indole compounds they will write cytokinin, for oxins they will write adenine, for gibberellic acid they will write carotenoids, for abscisic acid they will write terpenoids. In match the following, most of the times, most of the people in grand test they will make confusion. So practice thoroughly, fix it in your mind so strongly. So this is very, very important. Okay, right. Now in this, let us start with what is the first compound we have to start with? Auxins. Let us start with auxins. Auxin is a growth promoting hormone. So let us talk about auxins. Let us talk about oxins. Now, what are these oxins? As I told you, they are nothing but indole compounds, and they are nothing but a plant growth promoter. It's a plant growth promoter. Let us start with auxins. Okay, what is the first compound? Auxins. Auxin is a indole compounds and it's nothing but growth promoter. Now, before we talk about auxin, so we say that auxin is synthesized. Very important note points I will give you. Then we will go with the discovery, how auxins are being discovered, how auxins are being introduced or invented. That discovery part we will study. Before that, I will give you note points. You have to note down very important points. Auxins can be identified, auxins can be detected, or they will be identified by a test called as, it's called a bioassay test. It's called a bioassay test. Which bioassay test is essential to identify the auxin? It's nothing but Avena curvature test. Avena curvature test. So here I will say auxins are first isolated by a scientist, F.W. Wendt, in what you call oat seedlings by Avena curvature test. I repeat again. Auxins can be detected or identified within the plant. They can be detected or identified within the plant with the bioassay test. What is the test? That is, test is nothing but Avena curvature test. With Avena curvature test, you can identify the presence of auxins. With Avena curvature test, you can identify auxins. Sometimes the question comes, what is the bioassay test for identification of auxins? Look for the option Avena curvature test. Who did this Avena curvature test? Who introduced the test for identifying auxins? So, with this test, auxins are first isolated by, or sometimes they will give the question, the term was coined by, auxin term was coined by, or auxins first isolated by, remember the scientist F.W. Wendt. Who is the scientist? F.W. Wendt. What are the questions? Auxin term was coined by, look for option F.W. Wendt. Auxins are first isolated by F.W. Wendt on doing experiment where in oat seedlings, in oat plant in seedlings they studied what are called auxins, and he identified by with the test called Avena curvature test. Okay. Another very important point I will give you, very important note point. 4 star marks I kept, very important. Auxins are synthesized by, I will write completely again because the point is very important. Auxins are synthesized by tryptophan, very important. What is this tryptophan? It's an amino acid in the presence of zinc. In the presence of zinc. Very important. Guys, correlate this point with mineral nutrition. What did you study in mineral nutrition? Zinc involved in synthesis of IAA. Zinc is involved in synthesis of IAA. Did you remember? What is that IAA? Indole 3 acetic acid. What is that? It's nothing but auxin. It is nothing but what? Auxins. Auxins are synthesized by an amino acid. Who is an amino acid? Very important. Who is an amino acid? Tryptophan. Very important. Auxins are synthesized by an amino acid tryptophan. So this tryptophan amino acid in the presence of zinc. Zinc is an activator for tryptophan. Tryptophan produces what is called auxin. What is the type of auxin? IAA, indole-3 acetic acid. Very important. Question getting point. You will get question on this. I hope you got it. What is that? Auxins synthesized by tryptophan. It's an amino acid in the presence of zinc. What is a bioassay test? Avena curvature test. So these are nothing but very important points you have to remember. Now let us see how scientists have discovered auxins. So let us talk about auxins discovery. So let us study auxins discovery. How people have discovered the presence of auxins. So here we can take Charles Darwin and his son Francis Darwin. Charles Darwin and Francis Darwin. So Charles Darwin is the father and his son Francis Darwin. Both of them, they did experiment on coleoptiles of canary grass. Coleoptiles of canary grass. What is this canary grass? Scientific name of this canary grass is Phalaris canariensis. Okay. What is coleoptile? Did you remember sexual reproduction in flowering plant? Dicot embryo, monocot embryo. In monocot embryo, tip of the root is called coleoptile. Tip of the root is called coleorhiza. Tip of the shoot is called as coleoptile. Right? Coleoptile means tip of the shoot system. Tip of the shoot is called, tip of the stem is called coleoptile. Did you remember? In monocot embryo, tip of the root is called coleorhiza. Tip of the shoot is called coleoptile. So the two scientists, Charles Darwin and Francis Darwin, they did experiment on coleoptiles, means tip of which grass? Canary grass. And what is the scientific name for canary grass? Phalaris canariensis. What is the scientific name? Phalaris canariensis. Okay. So here, what did they observe here? So they took the coleoptile of canary grass, and when they started observing this is nothing but tip of this is called coleoptile, and it got with unilateral source of light. Unilateral source of light, meaning illuminated with. Illuminated means here unilateral means from one side they provided the light. One side they provided the light. So to this coleoptile of canary grass, tip means coleoptile, a tip of the canary grass, it got exposed to a light in one direction. It got exposed to light in one direction. What is meaning unilateral source of light? Only when from one direction a light is kept. Unilateral means only one direction there is a source of light. Light is kept in one direction. This is unilateral source of light. Then after some time they observed there is a curvature in the tip of the coleoptile. So there is curvature. So tip of the coleoptile is bending towards the sunlight. They thought something is responsible. Something is responsible for curvature. That means they thought that some chemical which is present. So here you write down, better you write down here. Some chemical is responsible for curvature. Something is responsible for curvature. That means they thought some chemical is responsible for curvature. Some chemical which is present here makes the bending of tip of coleoptile towards the light. So that is the first discovery for oxine. That was the very first discovery. Something is making for curvature or bending tip of canary grass towards the sunlight. That was the first discovery for oxine. But these are the people not discovered as oxines. They have not given the name called oxine. They simply discovered some chemical is responsible. Okay, so here I hope you got it. This is oxines. Bioassay test is important to remember, that is Avena curvature test. Remember it is given by FW Wendt in oat seedlings. Oxines are synthesized by amino acid tryptophan in the presence of zinc. Important points. We started with the discovery. The two scientists, father and son, who are they? Charles Darwin, followed by his son also did the same experiment on, that is Francis Darwin, on coleoptiles of canary grass. Scientific name is Phalaris canariensis. And this is the experiment they did, coleoptile of canary grass. It showed some curvature, some chemical is responsible for that. That was the first discovery to discover oxines.